Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you today?
Good, thank you.
Good. Thanks for joining us. We have participants on ready to ask you questions. But I would like to start with you commenting about your team. And I know you started practice a couple weeks ago. If you just want to do a general statement for us, that would be great.
We're very excited about the start of the season. Our players have been working very, very hard, have had a great preseason. I think they're anxious to play against somebody else with having started the season a little earlier and not having an exhibition game as close to the start of your season as you did a year ago. But they've been working very, very hard and just excited to get ready to play. We've had great leadership in Sam Polino, one of our returning starters, along with Alex Gensler and Vanessa Abel. Our three returners are really stepping up and playing well right now for us.
Okay, we'd like to open the floor for questions, please.
And just a reminder, it is star one if you have a question today. Our first question comes from Shane White from 1660 Information Radio.
Hi, Coach. Good morning.
Good morning, Shane. How are you?
Doing just fine. Looks like you've got two newcomers to your team that bring some added size for you, and even though they're freshmen, I'm assuming that that size will be a key ingredient to how you're preparing for the season. Can you talk a little bit about what you've seen with them in practice thus far?
They definitely bring size. We have Orshi Stacey as a freshman along with Wumi Agumbiade. The one thing that Wumi brings is a rebounding presence, which is much needed for our team, and a great deal of athleticism in the post position for us. And she is off to a really good start in this preseason, has had some minor injuries with some shins right now, but is really playing well and learning a new system. I think it's a little different. It's a transition, as always, becoming a freshman and learning an entirely new system, but she's really playing well, and when she is not thinking too much and just letting her instincts take over, she's very, very good for us right now. And the other player is Orshi Seichi, who is a 6'3" guard on the perimeter, but really gives us some versatility in our lineup, being able to play her on the perimeter, being able to take her inside and post her up, playing her to guard in a post position. They add a great deal of depth. She has legitimate three-point range and a jump shot from that range. Very good off the dribble, sees the floor very well, very unselfish, and really going to bring a scoring presence for us. And what they both bring is athleticism, size, but also depth. You know, we've returned three starters and have some players coming back that came off the bench for us, but these two will be impact players for us and could potentially both be in the starting lineup.
So definitely some intense competition in practice thus far.
Absolutely, and I think that's what's great about our team right now is if you know I would put a starting lineup on the floor, but you know we have 7 or 8 players right now competing for those spots, and it's been a battle. You know, one day you think you'll go one way, the next day you think you'll go another way, just because of what players bring and the differences that we look like with the different lineups we can put on the floor, and it could be depending on who we're playing and what the matchups are and what matchups maybe we try to exploit a little bit with our lineup. So I'm excited about the different looks that we can put out on the floor.
Anything further, Mr. White?
I'm good for now, thanks.
Thank you.
And just a reminder, it is star one to ask the question.
Coach, Duquesne is coming off its second straight 21 season and an appearance in the WNIT. What will it take for you to get back to the postseason again this year?
Well, we look at our non-conference schedule and how we have improved on the teams that we are playing. You know, we have teams in the top 20 in the country with West Virginia, Vanderbilt, Ohio State. You know, not that those games are, you know, you go into those games hoping maybe for a miracle, but just being able to try to be somewhat competitive playing against teams of that caliber and preparing us for the conference season. And I think that's ultimately what's going to help us get to the postseason is, you know, hopefully doing well in the non-conference schedule, but having that prepare us for our conference season and being able to get to the top of our conference. You know, we felt we got there by finishing tied for 4th with the 6th seed last year. And, obviously when you go into a new season, you always have expectations. You want to improve on the year before. And so, finishing tied for fourth, our goal is at least to get there, hopefully finish in the top of our conference and make the postseason. And, our players talk about if it is the WNIT advancing a little further, but, these players talk about wanting to get to the NCAA tournament, and as a team and as a coach, obviously that is the goal you have every year. Is the dream is to get to the NCAA tournament. And I think it's really, for us, we need to stay healthy. We only have 10 players on our roster, so it's key that we stay healthy through this season because we will count on all 10 players to make contributions. And, you want to be playing your best basketball in conference season.
And I do have some more questions. The first one comes from Pete Woody from Atlantic 10.
Coach, both those freshmen you mentioned earlier have experience playing internationally for the country. What kind of difference do you see in players like that versus those who haven't had that experience before?
Well, you look at, for all freshmen, it's a transition. You look at the speed of the game, the physicality, and, obviously the learning curve that goes along with becoming a part of a new team. But you look at these two players, and they just have so much confidence. And you saw it in their individuals when we started in the beginning of the year, just the confidence that they do their workouts with and that they have in themselves and their skill set. And I think they are, for us anyway, coming in as freshmen, do have a different skill set and have played at a higher level than what we have seen in the past as freshmen. And I just think they come in and they play with no fear. I mean, they're exciting. They think they have a twin thing going on together on the floor. They're roommates. And really, they're just raising the level of our play. Our players love to play with them. They can score. They can distribute the basketball. They can finish around the basket. They can, hit the perimeter jumper. And I think their versatility is something that is exciting that they bring. We had a little blue-red scrimmage on Saturday, and our fans had the opportunity to get a little glimpse of what we will look like, and they did not disappoint. So they just bring an exciting style of basketball, and I think they gained that from the international experience that they've had playing with their national teams.
Any other further questions?
Yes, I do have another question. That comes from Celeste Whitaker from Atlantic 10.
Wonderful.
Hey, Coach, can you just speak to there just seems to be more and more parity each year with this league. I mean, more teams, being more competitive and challenging, teams in the upper echelon. Can you just speak to that, the parity that's really developed?
I mean, I think right now, if I was to say, you look at, there's Xavier and Dayton at the top, and I think they've, set the bar high for this conference. And I think right now what teams are trying to do is they're trying to close the gap. And I know I can speak for ourselves that that's what we're trying to do is we're trying to close the gap and be able to compete at that level with them having the NCAA experience and having gotten to that tournament. That's where we want to be. But so many teams have gotten better. When we had to sit down and predict the order of finish for the teams, it was very difficult because you try to consider who teams have lost as far as key players, who their freshmen are coming in as far as recruits, and teams are getting better and better. And, I think in this league, on any given night, anything can happen. And, you fall asleep or you take a team lightly, it's going to be the difference in the ball game because I think, teams are motivated. We scout each other. We know what every team can do. There's a familiarity, and I think conference is always so different than playing non-conference games. For whatever reason, I think that teams know how to play against certain teams. You learn coaches' styles and what they like to do and who to key on. But it's really an exciting conference, and I really do think that anything can happen.
Thank you.
And I have no further questions at this time.